Okay. 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 Let's go. So yeah, tell me a little bit about your childhood and your relationship to God when you were younger.
Younger, let's see. My childhood was different. Didn't have the epic best parents by any stretch of the means. But I grew up Catholic through my grandmother, who was a devout Catholic. So I was raised that way. Got baptized, went through all the sacraments, just became your Christian and Catholic. Was born in 1970, so I'll be 53 this year, in a couple months. Um, and through that abusive childhood, you go to church and you hear about this all loving God, and you know all of the things that you hear about God and Jesus. You're loved and all of this, and um, I was like, you know, how is that possible? How could I, be going through all of this if he loves me, you know? Um, so I don't know. I was probably about 8, maybe 9. So it's like 1978, 1979. My grandmother woke me up to go to church, which we did, every Sunday. And I just got mad at her. I was like, no, I was kicking at her. I was like, don't ever wake me up. Don't ever wake me up to go there again. And she was just stunned, and I knew I hurt her deeply. Um,
Is
but
that
I
to
said, I'm never,
go to church again?
I'd never went back to church
No, but
until,
don't wake me up. Was that don't wake me up to go back to church or
yeah, don't wake me up to go to church. I'm never going to church again. I don't need it.
uh,
I'm perfectly capable on my own. So don't ever wake me up to go to church ever
okay.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from that point on, I quit having a relationship with God, and I did not speak to him until I was dying, which would be about 42, 43 years later. Um, I never stopped believing in him, but I never had a relationship with him. And I mean, I never called on him. I never asked him for anything. I just became a very lost. I just became very lost, like most of the people around here or around the world. You just get lost in the pain and in life and everything. And I was no exception to that. Um, like I said, but I never stopped believing in God or Jesus.
Yeah.
So now we'll fast forward to, the incident. Came home on April 2nd of 2020. Seemed like a normal day, but I began to cough up blood. I mean, bright red blood, like somebody had slit my throat, blood. And it became extremely difficult to breathe, almost to the point of non-existent. Remember making a frantic call to my ex-wife, who was a nurse, and that's all I remember. I just remember waking up then. At what, how much time had passed, I have no idea. None. Just waking up in the ICU room. Hands and feet were strapped to the bed. Like I could only move it up like a quarter inch. IV in the neck, stuff in the nose, tube in the mouth, down the throat. And from that very moment I awoke, I turned my head to the left, because up in the left-hand corner of the room, of my ICU room, somebody was there. I couldn't see it, but it was, I don't know, like you taking a breath of air right now. You just know, you
So
know.
were you awake at this time, or was it just were you
I
conscious?
was awake at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the moment my eyes opened, I
Mm.
turned to the left. There were doctors and nurses screaming. I was trying to get past them because basically I was looking at the TV, but there was somebody there. There was something there. Like I said, it was like you breathing air. You just know you're breathing air. You can't describe it, but you're just breathing it. So somebody was there.
And did this somebody give you reassurance, or could you feel love coming from it, or what was that like?
it was just an absolute knowing. That's
Okay.
all I can say right at the moment. It was just an absolute profound knowing
Yeah.
that, somebody was there.
Okay.
Even though I couldn't physically see with my eyes, my soul knew, you know. So, and the entire time that I was in the ICU for that month, that presence never wavered. Never. It never wavered. And then I was getting better towards the end of the month. They took me off the ventilator. They took they took me off the ventilator. The IV, was gone. Just I was breathing on my own.
And how were you feeling during all this? Were you terrified you were going to lose your life, or was it?
Oh, totally,
Yeah.
totally. I was in so much pain.
Oh, I'm paying. Yeah.
It was indescribable, the pain that I was in. Every part of my body
Yeah.
was in excruciating pain. Everything was.
Yeah.
And, in that month, I had lost 75 pounds. I was lethargic. I couldn't eat. I
Wow.
couldn't drink.
Yeah.
And that whole time I'm staring at the TV, and it got to the point when I was on the ventilator that the nurse, said, Jason, do you want me to turn on the TV? And I couldn't talk or move my hands. I just, I shook my head a little bit, like, no. And they're like, okay. So I'm off the ventilator, and I had to be on the upper floors because when I was looking out the window, I couldn't see the grass. All I could see was the blue skies and like the top part of a tree, and I was staring at the TV. And that's when I cried out to God. I started sobbing uncontrollably. I couldn't talk. I could only get to my elbows, and I was shaking uncontrollably because I had no strength.
Hmm.
And I just cried out to God. I mean, that was literally the first time in 42 years that I even mentioned his name.
Yeah.
And I cried out. I said, please don't let me die. Please.
Yeah.
And I went into, I love you. I love Jesus. I am truly sorry for abandoning you.
Yeah.
All these years. I said, I never stopped believing in you. But I said, I didn't have a relationship with you. And I said, I'm sorry. I said, please let me see my kids again. Please, please, and I went into, there's somebody here that I love very, very much. And I said, please don't take her from me, please. I went in and I was talking about my love for her. And then all of a sudden, time stopped. I was instantly out of my body, and I was engulfed in the most beautiful love and light that I have ever experienced. I have never felt love, and you will never feel that kind of love on this planet and this earth. It simply does not exist. It flowed through every part of my being, my soul, like a river, like you were placed in a 20-foot river about 10 feet down. Instead of the water going around you, it flowed through you. And the love was as warm as the sun, as warm as this, unconditional. And within that same moment, I instantly knew where I was. I could see everything around me, the whole ICU room, without moving my head. I could just see everything. I could see the grass, and I could see the grass's soul. I could see the tree and the tree's soul. I could see everything. I could feel their love for me. I could feel everything. I could see everything, and I knew everything within a trillionth of a second.
Yeah.
And all communication that I was giving to the light, which was God, I said, I'm home.
Yeah.
I knew who I was. I was still Jason, but I had no love of this body. I had no love of this world anymore. I didn't care about my children. Not that I mean I didn't care, but and I knew they were perfect. Everybody that was on the earth at that time was exactly where they needed to be. Everything, COVID going, everything was right where we needed to be. And I said, I'm home now. if you want to think about that. How would I know I was home unless this has happened before?
Yeah, unless this is the place you come from, because then you're going home.
From place I come from, but if right, so that means I've died more than once. It was like putting on an old pair of shoes,
Yeah,
like they're just comfortable. I knew where I was, I knew who I was, what I am. you
yeah,
know um so I'm in this light, I'm in Father's embrace, and guilt came, shame for the way I acted in my life,
oh,
to the
okay.
people I hurt, to
Was it a
yeah, just
life review situation,
it
or
wasn't a life review, no, because I wasn't dead. I wasn't like I was gunshot and I flatlined. This was really divine
oh,
intervention.
oh, okay. So you never,
I was off the ventilator. I was off, I was healing. It would be like
oh,
right now if you got off of this interview and just cried out to God,
yeah,
just got on your hands and knees and sobbed. And when I was doing that, he answered the door. He
ah,
was he was the one in the room waiting for me.
yeah,
So he knew this was going to happen. He knew I was going to call out to him. It's something that Father and I, or God, set up before I came down here.
yeah,
Okay. So pre-plan, yes. I got to a mile marker, and it simply happened. So Father was waiting. Um, so now I'm in his embrace, and you're fully aware of what you would call mistakes, things that you could have done better, things that you shouldn't have said or have done.
yeah,
And it was made abundantly clear to me, and this is all through feeling, through just love, that I had done nothing wrong, nothing. And it was myself that judged me.
yeah,
And the more harshly I began to judge myself, the more love Father gave me and said, you did nothing wrong.
ah,
My guilt and my shame was enough for him to say, you're my son. I love you.
yeah,
And then in that moment that we're just communicating love, my soul and his infinite love were just being embraced by each other, just hugging each other, and it was exactly what I was needed. I mean, I was just filled with, in that trillionth of a second, I was energized, like somebody plugged me into the universe's battery, and I was just invigorated, like,
yeah,
I mean, I was young again. There was no pain in that moment of that transition of me leaving my body. There was no pain, none, just love, unconditional love, on a scale that you could just never possibly imagine. None. And in that moment, Jesus showed up. So as I'm looking at Father now, I can't see these. I can't see them. I know who they are. I
yeah,
can't see them because I can't. I'm not dead. I'm not supposed to, you
yeah,
know. So as my gaze, even though I'm still staring at the left, I look this way, because I can see everything. And another presence showed up, and I knew it was Jesus. And he bestowed just as much love of Father. It was almost in a human form, as like if somebody plugged your nose and mouth. Okay, you're stifled, you can't breathe. It was so much love. It was almost stifling. And it was just, I didn't want to come back here. I wanted, even though I said, don't let me die, I had no desire in any way, shape, or form to come back to this. None.
no,
And I was just in both of their embrace, being loved,
okay,
being shown who I am and what I am, and knowledge of, the knowledge of the universe, that, you know, it keeps coming and coming. More and more knowledge keeps coming. I had another out of body experience last almost a year ago. I was taken literally back home, and this point, I was in the ICU room, but I was above my body.
Yeah.
So, but while I was in the ICU room, because I can't give you a time frame. It could have been 30 seconds. It could have been 30 years. I don't know. It just ceased to exist. What we consider linear time here, it doesn't exist. So as I was looking at Jesus, our souls were connecting and bonding. I felt his hands on my chest, and they were as warm as the sun. I mean, I was so warm, and his hands felt big, but they covered my whole chest, and they gently laid my soul back into my body and then back onto the bed, where I was instantly put into a coma-like sleep, just completely out. Again, how long I was out, I couldn't possibly tell you. But then when I did awake, that presence was gone. Father was gone. And I was very upset about it.
Yeah,
Very upset.
I bet you were. Yeah.
I did, when I woke up, I was in excruciating pain. I couldn't breathe very well. Again, the nurses were trying to get me I couldn't drink. It was just like you give a baby a drink of water and it just come out my, it was.
Did you tell the nurses what happened?
No.
Oh,
No,
why not?
no. Because I was still trying to process everything that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I didn't have the words. It was so profound.
Did you know about near-death experiences at that point?
I had no idea about them. I had no idea what happened to me.
Okay. Yeah.
None, So when I got back home, I was very, very depressed. I went through a lot of stuff. My company fired me. I had eviction notices. They repossessed my vehicle. I had no furniture. I had to sell my furniture to get ramen noodles to eat.
Yeah.
And then finally, I was like, I had to go to my pastor, that I'd been going to I started attending church just before this. And he wanted to meet me. And so I told him my whole experience and everything. And he just sat there with his mouth wide open, just wide open, and, like dumbfounded. He had his finger in the corner of his mouth, and he shunned me. He refused my phone calls. He refused to talk to me. He refused to have anything to do with me.
Wow.
And I had nowhere else to go. I didn't know. I came back home and I started crying. And all of a sudden this thought popped into my head, YouTube. And I'm like, so I typed in whatever I typed in, heavenly experience or something like that. And up came some people that had NDEs. And one of them was a wonderful woman who literally saved my life after this by watching her videos. Her name was Melissa Deniers, A Love Covered Life. When I ended up doing my first interview with her, but I started watching, a title came up and I watched it and I just sobbed uncontrollably because they were talking about what happened to them. And it was like, I was literally reliving my experience again. So I began to really research, and I found out what NDE was, near death experience. And I really just started watching hundreds, and it turned into thousands. And Melissa, I made a couple comments, and Melissa found me and she said, I would love to talk to you. So we talked for about half an hour, 40 minutes. She goes, I would really like to do this interview with you. I said, that would be fine. And I talked about it, and my title was, God doesn't care about your religion. And, it was abundantly clear to me. Everything that I had been taught and had beaten into my head about Christianity was an epic lie. And God basically told me that it's insignificant in every way as far as God is concerned. It means nothing to him. And, I went through my whole life feeling dejected, rejected, that I'm a sinner and, you're going to burn in hell. Hell doesn't exist. Sin doesn't exist.
What about those people who have darker near-death experiences and describe a hell?
That's because their energy, we're created out of three things. We're simply interdimensional beings. And basically, I'll clarify it in a minute, that we are God. We are all gods. And
so there's no separation between us and God. We're the same thing. Yeah.
When Jesus said to the Pharisees, and it's in the Bible, you can look at in John, I forgot what chapter it is. He said to them, I and the Father are one.
Yeah.
Now, if you stop and listen to that, the Father and I, or I and the Father are one. That means we are the same. I am a God. So he says, I am the Son of God. Didn't say the Son of God. He said, I am the Son of God.
Because we're all children of God.
Because we are all created from God created us. He created miniature gods. Our souls are eternal. They're interdimensional beings or gods that travel the universe, picking up and trying new experiences. When we come to Earth, it's simply the hardest place for us to incarnate into. We don't start coming here when we start out our adventures. Earth is nothing more than a playground. Nothing here is real. Okay. This is simply the matrix. It's a dream. Okay. In essence, we're all still home. We're still in heaven. We're still with Father. This is an avatar. This is nothing more than an avatar that we slip a soul into, a body, a suitcase, whatever you want to call it. Okay. We choose our life. We choose our parents. We choose the things that we want to accomplish down here. And you choose it. And somebody said, well, it's God's will. No, it's not God's will. It's your will. This is what you chose to do. You cannot incarnate here on earth without coming before Father and saying, this is what I want to do. You set your life up with your guides, with your guardian angels. Everybody has them. We'll have them for eternity. The same. One of them's name's Jeffrey. Mine. And I asked him, Jeffrey, how many times did I die? And the number popped into my head, 3,200. I've died over 3,200 times already. That's why it felt, when I knew, I said, I'm home, because I've done it before. It was nothing new to me. It was as simple as taking a breath of air. Yeah. So, and when the Pharisees picked up stones to stone Jesus, he says, for you know all the good deeds that I have done. For which of these am I being stoned? And he says, we're not being stoned. Now, this is, I do believe, Psalm 82, somewhere in there. And he said, for which good deeds am I being stoned? He says, for the good deeds you have done, none. But for blasphemy, to call yourself God. And he says, isn't it written in your law that you are also the Son of God? That you are all gods?
Yeah.
They had no reply.
Yeah.
None, because it's written there in the Bible. We are gods. Why doesn't Christianity or Protestantism preach that? Because what we have done is pedestalize Jesus. Well, they said, wow, they made him the only Son of God, and they put him out of reach. They kicked him basically upstairs. Now pick up your cross and carry it, knowing full well we could never reach those standards as a Christian or anybody. That's not why Jesus came here. Jesus came here to awaken us, to say, look, you are all gods. I'm no different than you. I have just reached what they call Christ consciousness. We all have that consciousness. That's why I say we're all home. We haven't obtained it here yet. humanity is getting close. We're going into 5D right now. So we are getting more and more intelligent, but he reached that consciousness. So he could do the things that we're all capable of doing. We just haven't reached that level yet. So when he said, "You're all gods, I am nothing more than your brother," he is exactly right. But Christianity won't preach that. They want you. And when we pedestalize Jesus and put him up there out of our reach, and what did that obtain? Guilt. You're a guilty sinner. You fornicated. You said, "God damn it, Jesus Christ." You know damn well that tomorrow you're going to do it all over again, which is true because we live our lives. What Jesus came here to say is there's nothing you can do wrong. You need to wake up and realize your full potential. I reached that full potential in my NDE. I had merged with my, God didn't give me the smarts. I already had it. I merged with my true consciousness and I became one with Father because I and the Father are one.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think Jesus was, he actually was able to do the miracles you read about in the Bible, or is that just part of a myth or?
No, he
What?
did those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's
absolutely.
what,
But what he was trying to do was to awaken people, to show everybody what we all are capable of if we would just wake up. Like I said, we're in a dream
yeah.
right now. Okay? When you die, you're out of the dream. You wake up and you're back home and you have that experience of going back home. And why everybody's NDE is different, because my realization and knowing of heaven is different from yours and everybody else's. So somebody may see a field of green or a big building or, an alternate universe or whatever. So that's where that comes in. And people that have hellish experiences, when I told you we're made up of three things, we're made up of love, light, and energy. That's it. We're just a ball of energy. We just take on the form of a human form. So when you have, like Howard Storm and others, a hellish experience, it's because their vibration, their energy level was too low. You cannot go into heaven bringing all the excess baggage from here. Okay. So in those lower levels, the lowest two levels, you still have physical connection with your physical brain. So, in that process, when he entered the void, and the void is just that, because I entered the void on my second trip, but my void was full of love. When he entered the void, it was void of light, sound, smell. He knows who he is, but now he still has connection to his physical brain, his physical body and reality. So what do you do when you're stuck in a void? You don't think of ice cream cones and puppy dogs and kitten cats. No, you start to fear who's here with me. What was that? Your mind starts to play tricks. And now you're starting to create all of these things, demons or whatever you want to manifest. You're manifesting it. You're making it real. And that's what they do.
Yeah.
And a certain amount of time goes by. Who knows? And then what do every single one of them do? They cry out to God or Jesus, please.
Yeah.
And in that second, the light is there. And they're drawn out of what they created, hell. And they're drawn into Father. It's kind of like being scared straight,
Yeah.
So you enter this place, you're terrified, because you can't see anything. You can hear, you have all your senses, but you're blind. And then you create the worst. Everybody does. It's like watching a scary movie, going down into the basement and there's no lights. Your mind starts to play tricks on you. So it's fear-based. Fear doesn't exist. It does not exist. So and when they call out to God or Jesus, the light comes, they're drawn to it, they go home. They're already home, but they're raising their vibration, and they're moving, up in levels into heaven. So, and that's where they have the beautiful experience that they all say that they have, which is, there's no doubt in my mind. So
why do you think
that
we're all here then? Why do you think we're here? What's the point of it all?
we're simply here to learn.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. This is who we are, okay? So imagine the white light that you hear, all right? So just imagine the most pure and beautiful white light. Now imagine you're in a room, a square room, okay? The ceiling, the walls, and the floor are all that same color white, the most beautiful white. Now you're in that room too, and you are the exact same color white. How do you know you're white?
You can't, yeah, because you're the same color.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So if you don't know what white is, how do you know what black is? How do you know what red, yellow, pink is? How do you know what making love to a woman is? How do you know what holding a hand is, or falling down, or, we come here to learn. All we know from being at home with Father is love. We don't know anything else but it. So this is a big game. That's why it's a simulation. None of it's real. We come here to experience those things. There's no right or wrong or good or bad. And that's what was given to me in my NDE. I didn't do anything wrong, but in my mind, in my physical mind here on earth, I did. And Father said, no, you didn't. You did nothing wrong. I didn't get the big check mark. Well, you were a bad Christian. No, I was accepted with unconditional love. Mm-hmm. So this is a simulation, a playground. And when you're in Keanu Reeves, The Matrix, none of it is real. You create what you want to down here. It all comes out of your mindset. If you want to create and you want to live in a lower vibration element, then you're going to have what you would call bad things. You're not going to have good things happen to you. It's going to seem like one big, mess of a roller coaster. But if you raise that vibration and know that what you're going through is nothing more than an experience that you chose to have before you came down here. How simple is that? None of it's real. None of it is.
So would you say you're more high, like how are you different before and after this? Are you way more high vibrational now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, ever since my NDE, I have just risen up and up and up. It's so easy for me now that, I look at people running around in the little rat race, and they're so obsessed with their money, their car. I got to have more clothes. I don't. As a matter of fact, I sold most of all of my furniture, got rid of my fancy car, and I live a very, very simple life because none of it matters to me. I have no love of materialistic things, money, any of that. Yeah. It's insignificant. The only thing that matters here on earth is love. That is the only thing that will remain here and that will live for eternity is love. Nothing else. We are love. That is all we are.
Yeah. So when you do have challenges in life, though, how do you deal with them differently now? Or because life it's not easy. It's going to throw your hurdles up every now and then, or do you just not really see it that way anymore?
I don't see it that way anymore. I know that this is something that I chose to experience, and that with absolute certainty, I know everything is going to be okay. That what I'm going through is nothing more than something that I chose to experience. It's not bad. Nobody said, oh my God, look at this. No, it's something I chose to experience before I came down here. I went before Father, said, this is what I want to experience here. He said, okay, off you go.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not real. It's something like when you go back to the example of the white room, you're white. How do you know you're white? You don't. So you come here to experience everything that's not love and love related. We didn't come down here to love people. We are love. We're all connected. I and the Father are one. So are you. You're me. I'm you. We're all connected. Everybody is. We're connected by like what you could think of when you see a spider web, just one little line. Every little line or spider web, we're all connected that way here.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that
Okay.
lots of experiences. That yeah.
Yes. I mean, so if I and the Father are one and we're all gods, then we're all the same. So there is no difference down here. We're all the same. So when I look at reality now, if something came challenging my way, it's like I really don't care. I don't. I'll work through it. It's just something that I chose to experience, and that's it. You know, and now I just look at it as that. It's just an experience, a challenge. How can I get through this? And the goal of going through that challenge, some are more challenging than others. I'm sure you've had some challenging things in your life, right?
Yeah.
So when you look through those, instead of getting mad and pissed off and swearing and cussing and yelling at that person or hitting them or beating them up, you go up there and you have a sense of, a humility and love and forgiveness, and know that I chose this. Okay, I chose it. All right. No need to be mean. All right, how do I get through this? All right. You get through it, you move on.
Yeah.
And that's it. So
So in a way, we're here to experience the opposite of love, which is fear. And you know, in the white room example, we're here to experience a bit of darkness, so we can is that appreciate the love and the light a bit more, or learn that that's what we truly are. We need that perspective.
yeah, that's a good way to put it, because you want to experience that, because we're excited about it in a
Yeah,
way. We come down here and, you wouldn't think somebody saying, I would like to be molested, or I would like to, as a female be, sexually assaulted, and we're down here. What did I do to deserve that? It's nothing you deserved. It's just something you chose to have an experience with.
yeah,
We don't know what that's like. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So I don't know what a plane crash is. I don't know what it's like to be burned. I don't know what it's like to be shot or stabbed. So we choose these things, and we come down here, we get cut off from home, and all of a sudden we're like, well, this sucks. That really wasn't fun. Get beat up or stabbed, or whatever you went through. But it's a learning experience.
yeah, yeah,
you know that's it. It's like, if you have kids, you tell your kids not to run when they're toddlers. Hey, you're gonna fall down. What do? They keep running. Next thing you know, boom, smash their face on the ground. They get up screaming and crying, and what do you tell them? I told you.
yeah,
Right? So when we come down here, we experience these things, we get back home and we go, no, I'm not going through that again.
yeah,
No, that wasn't too cool. So we're teaching our higher selves, our consciousness, or who we truly are, that was fun, and that I'm never going to do again. So we're constantly learning, and that's why we come to Earth, because it is single-handedly the hardest place to incarnate into,
okay.
and it's a challenge.
So do you think we can? Do you think there's life on other planets, and we can try life in one of those?
We already have.
Yeah,
Like I say, you don't incarnate here. You've started out on other galaxies. I mean, trillions of light years away from here, as what you would consider an alien.
yeah,
Not a humanoid form. You've been in other humanoid forms, but you start out in other planets, other galaxies, where you still feel home. You still feel connected to God. You still feel the unconditional love. You get married. You've been a man, a female, a husband, a wife. You've have other children from other, civilizations and planets. Yeah, this isn't just in our galaxy alone. We have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of inhabitable planets.
yeah,
So absolutely. And Earth is kind of like graduation. When you come to Earth, you're kind of like a badass, okay? Because you're cut off from home, you're having all of these experiences, and quite a few of them are unpleasant and not fun. And we grow from those, and that's why we come here. Jesus isn't, kicked up above. We are equal to him. We are, he's my brother. He's your brother.
So where do you think Earth is going? What I think I heard you on another interview give a few thoughts on where you think we are going as a species. So what can you
Yeah, we are evolving as a species right now. We're in 3D, and right now we're transitioning into 5D. So our consciousness is growing, and in that, it's gonna. I'd say some say 100, 150 years. Um, I think I really in my soul I feel it's coming within anywhere from 40 to 80 years from now, where World War III is going to take place. And in that time, which is going to last about 7 years, after that, world peace,
mm,
meaning we are going to reach that pinnacle of 5D, or right 5D consciousness, and we're going to be pushed into world peace. No, peace, no hunger, no homelessness, no everything. Does it mean we're all singing kumbaya? No. It means big companies and all of that are going to start wanting to worry about us, and they're going to work with us and not worry about greed
yeah,
and what's in it for me. Everything's going to be done for everybody on the planet, their well-being and their well-good. And that's where the world peace comes, and that's like the final end of our transition into 5D. And then when we reach that state of consciousness, um, nations will fall. Like there'll be no more United States, no more Russia, South Korea, North Korea, Great Britain. It's just going to be Earth,
yeah.
all of us together,
Humans.
working together. Right. Just a beautiful civilization, in which case Earth will no longer become a free will planet. We're going to, then transition out of that, and we will keep transitioning. Human beings will evolve, will look different eventually, you know, in this because we're becoming smarter. So we're going to evolve, you know. So, um, but that's coming. And that's why, there's a lot of what you would seem like chaos, like the COVID and all these diseases. And, the earth is also transitioning into a higher vibration. Earth, some people call it Gaia. So the earth is alive, not just because it's got water, trees, and birds. No, the earth has a soul. Okay. The earth is transitioning as well. So we're all moving to a much better place, a higher vibration, a higher energy. That's why some people are going crazy. You think, well, this person's nuts. It's because the energy is changing and
Yeah,
it's affecting them differently,
yeah,
and that's what's happening. And some have already have gotten into 5D, and some, even after we all transition, they'll still be stuck, but they'll eventually get there.
yeah. Yeah, so can I ask you things like animals, they've got a soul too, and they're just at a different stage
Absolutely.
of evolution to humans, or
Yeah, I mean, no, it's no different if I go to father, hey, I want to be a tree. Okay, go be a tree. Hey, I'd like to be grass. Well, go be grass. You know, go be a raccoon, go be a gazelle, go be it. So yeah, next time you're out there and you look at the trees, they're alive. They have a soul, just like you and I right now.
yeah,
Go up to them and give them. I hug trees all the time now because I know they're alive. I
yeah,
know there's somebody in there.
yeah.
Let them know you love them.
Okay, yeah. All right, Jason, can I just finish on a question? Just for anyone listening, how would you suggest you grow your connection to God and make that stronger and feel that bond a little bit more? Have you got any tips?
Yeah, people say, well, I need to pray, or, you listen to Christianity play or Protestant play, but you don't need to pray. I mean, I have a conversation with God 70 to 80 to 100 times a day. I talk to him like I'm talking to you. Good morning, Father. Thank you. I'm truly blessed. I love you. I know you're listening to me, and he is.
Yeah,
He's listening to every word. He feels me, he sees me. Have a conversation with him. That's all he's asking. Believe in him. Have faith. in what you're doing here and knowing that it's just a game. Have love for one another. Taught fathers say, like I say, Father, please help those who are suffering in Ukraine. Please,
Yeah.
comfort them. That's what he wants. So just talk to him and just have that conversation. And what I mean, and if you truly want to expand and get that vibration up, what I tell people is it's simply this: is you have to surrender and know that you and Father are one. Like Jesus said, I and the Father are one. You have to surrender that. You have to believe so profoundly in it that there is no other way, and surrender yourself to God. And it's that simple. It's a complete and total surrender.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining me today. I can see why God chose you to be a bit of a messenger there, because you are an excellent communicator. And are you gonna thinking of doing a book or anything like that, or just?
I am. I'm in the process, but I'm just. It's really there's so much information that I'm going to get on it this year. I've got probably 20, 30,000 words down already, but it's just a hodgepodge and jumble mumble of stuff. So I really got to crack down on it. But I'm waiting for that. That hey, it's time.
Yeah.
Because there's so much in there that I have to say that it's just going to take me a little bit. So a book is coming, yes.
Oh, cool. Oh, when it gets done, send me an email and I'll let the listeners know.
Absolutely, will do.
Thank you, Jason.
You bet. You have a beautiful day.
You too, mate. Bye.
All right, bye.